All right, and here we are. This is the Working Title Show with Zach Sams, and we are back. All right. We are back. We are recording. This is the Working Title Show with Zach Sams. Really thrilled to be back after quite a bit of a hiatus, but we're going to try and get back on schedule here. I got a great guest and a great show today. My good buddy, and he's also a client, but first, my friend, Tyler Isbell. Hey, Tyler. How you doing, bud?
You need to go back to that mustache and goatee, bro.
I was going to ask you if you if that's what you were grinning about.
Is that a COVID thing that you kind of experimented with a little? You look like you should be maybe in the Three Musketeers with that deal.
Yeah, or the Three Amigos.
Well, more Frenchman.
Yeah, I tried that, and then like always, my wife gets mad about it and refuses to let me near her, and
same.
And so then I had to shave it, but. I don't know. I'm not very good at it. I kind of start to look like I have mange when I start to grow it in because I'm missing some spots here and there. I'm thinking maybe I'm low T. Maybe I need more T, and then I'll grow a big Paul Bunyan beard or something. So
yeah, I can't do it either.
Yeah, I was thinking about that today. But have you ever had your testosterone checked?
No, I'm extremely high testosterone.
You're sure? I think I'm probably really high. I'm probably off the charts.
Would say
that you're really high in testosterone.
I'm not a low T guy, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would think too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But what's up, man? How are you?
I'm good. We got football season is wrapping up with kiddos, and been going to 3 football games a week. So
your son's football season is almost.
Son's
and then you have cheerleading.
Season.
Football too, right?
So I got son's football season is over. Freshman cheer is over, and varsity made the playoffs. So Lake Highlands High School, go LH.
Nice.
So
they've been a pretty good team for a few years now, haven't they?
Yeah, they got a good group of guys.
I think Molly Holly works for us. I think her son was quarterback there. Was that last year?
Or was that this
year too? Couple years ago. Okay. Yeah, they were making quite a run. So do you think they're going to win state?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's what I'm going to stick with. Yeah.
Have they ever won state before?
Oh my gosh, I'm not a Lake Highlands.
You're not a historian?
Historian, and I didn't go to high school there. So
yeah, you went to high school. Where did you go to high school?
Wichita Falls High School.
The actual Wichita Falls.
The Coyotes, which are no longer. We've blown up those high schools now. So
what class did you graduate high school?
99.
So I think we were in the same district when I was playing high school golf at Denton. I think Wichita Falls High and Ryder, were in the same district, and then it switched. Like
Job Sherman and Denison in your.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Same district.
Yeah, District 7 4A or something like that.
Yeah. Well, we probably played against each other in a high school tournament, and you beat my ass.
There's a chance, but. Yeah.
We can talk golf stories all day if you want.
Well, how is your golf game?
Terrible.
That's important. 'Cause we got an event next week
that I have not prepared for. So, that's like most of my day is not preparing for stuff like this podcast. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, there's a lot of money for charity on the line there, so you probably ought to get out there this week.
Probably ought to
work on that a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what else is going on? We didn't even mention, that, you're in the real estate business.
I am in the real estate business. Yeah. That's what I do for a day job. And I'm in the retail real estate business specifically.
Yeah.
Work at SRS, and
retail was a couple years ago. They were saying that retail was, going to die and never reemerge again.
Yeah,
Did that happen?
People don't shop anymore.
Yeah, no more shopping.
No, gasoline and groceries are gone. They don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
No, retail, the funny thing is that was the big headline 10, 15 years ago was the Amazon effect and that retail is going to be dead. And the funny part about that is not most, but a lot of investors moved to multi and office and other product types because the apocalypse of retail was coming and it couldn't be.
They were a little bit wrong.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
retail, I've been in the business for 25 years, and it's more well leased in Dallas Fort Worth than it's ever been ever. So
If you talk to like general public, people that are not in the real estate business, there's still that lingering narrative around
I
that
know.
retail is going away. But
not just general public, investors.
investors too. They're
Investors
still,
that are like, well, I don't want to get into, buying retail because, Amazon and these other groups are going to be shutting down retail, which it just isn't happening.
I bet the
And-
investors that are still in retail love that other investors aren't getting in.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Debt and equity has been an interesting season of, deals are a little harder to get penciled and construction costs, but we're at like 97% leased throughout the entire Metroplex. And that's actually been, for a deal transaction guy, finding space for tenants that want to grow. Tenants all want to grow. Boxes are on fire right now. Target's just announced
Yeah.
they want to do 300 stores in the next 10 years.
So, I'm in title, so we see all the asset classes and everything. And multi has really, from a transactional point of view, buying and selling of multi assets, multifamily apartments, that's really slowed down over the last 2 years, as you know. For the same thing you just said, debt and equity, right? But if there's anything we've been really busy with, it's been, more like single tenant retail kind of stuff. But they still have to get debt and they still have to get equity, and it's not like they're getting better deals on it. So how is that segment able to keep moving? I know part of the answer. How is that segment or that class able to keep moving and build and continue on when so many asset classes have had to slow down because of the debt and equity issues?
Yeah, it's when you can
How do they pencil a deal when they're
when
dealing
you can
with the
put
same
your
thing?
money in a treasury and make 5% on your money, why would you want to buy a Starbucks at a 4 cap?
Right.
That doesn't make a ton of sense. But the thing I'm seeing, so
Are they looking out? They're like saying, yeah, we're not gonna make much money on building the Starbucks today, but this Starbucks is gonna be here for 25 years, and we know it's gonna come back around. And we're
I know a lot of Starbucks developers specifically that have had quite a time for the last 3 years trying to make their numbers work. And
Well, what's funny is like we're not closing Starbucks, but we're closing every other coffee shop known to man out there, and there's
you'd be
Dutch
surprised.
Brothers, 151, Seven Brew, there's coffee shops going up everywhere. That's got to be hurting Starbucks some, I would think.
yeah, Starbucks is doing fine.
They're okay? They're not gonna shutter?
They'll be all right. Yeah.
Okay.
They're was it yesterday you were telling me that coffee is the 4th largest commodity on earth? Was that you? Was that somebody else?
That was not me, but it sounds like something I would say.
Probably.
Yeah.
I was pretty surprised to hear that. Coffee's not going anywhere.
Well,
and
I don't find that actually that surprising, but I remember at one time somebody asked me, it was like, what's the most consumed beverage that's non-alcoholic? And I was like, well, I don't know. And then they're like, coffee. And
obviously.
I was like, oh, well, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
The thing, almost everyone drinks in the morning.
Yeah.
So that makes sense that.
Yeah. So back to kind of the 1031 triple net market. That's kind of what you were asking about, and trading, and that's what we see is running through Kensington Vanguard, getting title deals done.
Thanks for the name drop.
Yes, yes. Best title company in the country, if I do say so myself.
That's what most people say.
Right.
So I appreciate that.
Almost everybody.
People in the know.
In the
say
know,
that.
yeah. So I don't know these stats.
We just make up
100%,
stats on this show.
Right.
So you're good.
Well, I hyperbole too. So the market for 1031s was down 75% a year ago, and it's down an additional 25% on top of that from the
So it's down 100%.
No, it's down 25% off of that 75%. But
Right.
the kind of scuttlebutt in the office is there's about 10% of the velocity that there was 3 to 5 years ago. So it really is a challenge to find that buyer. If there's a buyer showing up to your asset, they're real picky right now. They're looking for, probably lowballing the deal. But if it is, I would say, the guys that are running our capital markets office that I've been working with for about a year now, they are really good at pricing things accordingly, and we'll be happy to put your product out on the market at what you want to put it out on, but you need to have the expectations that it's not going to move. And once you're ready to price something to move, it will move if it's well located. And the stuff that I'm finding more challenging is the stuff that's maybe either smaller markets or just not DFW main and main. If it's DFW main and main, it's not a problem. We had a
Right. There's nothing. There's not even anything to find at Main and Main in DFW, I would think.
well, we just sold a specs brand new construction on I-35. We've got a Blackbird Diner right next to that are getting a lot of interest on. We sold 7-Eleven in Salina, which Salina is a huge,
Yeah.
buzzword.
Well, you mentioned smaller markets. So what's an example? What's an example of a smaller market?
Nacogdoches,
Nacogdoches.
or
Okay.
Palestine, or somewhere that's not.
Not having the just crazy growth that we're seeing in the more metro
Yeah,
areas.
if it's within 50 miles of Dallas Fort Worth, you're getting a ton of interest on it, and that's the way we market it as well as Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex, because everybody's opening those marketing packages all over the country. So, and I'm seeing a ton of money coming from the coasts, from Los Angeles, New York, other places that everybody wants to
Be
buy.
part of Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas.
It's a huge buzzword.
Well, I mean, as I mentioned before the show, Dallas Morning News just put out I guess it was on Halloween, that in 2025, Dallas Fort Worth is going to be the hottest real estate market in the country. It's kind of hard to argue with that when you see what's been going on.
Yeah.
I think they were number 3 last year. They were number 1 in 2019. And so, and now they're going to be number 1 this year. I guess who knows if that'll play out exactly that way, but
It'll be interesting to see what happens locally, because there's been a little bit of a stutter step with construction, getting debt and equity and pricing and everything else to be able to make these numbers work. But if interest rates go down, I think there's going to be a bomb go off here in DFW. I think,
Yeah.
especially when you start looking at TxDOT and the roads that are going in and the concentric circles, the new Collin County Loop, things like that. I mean, every loop that you're
Where's
adding.
the new Collin County Loop?
New Collin County Loop will be going from, I can't remember which phase is when, but I think the main phase is going to go from the tollway to 75, and it's going to cut right between Salina and Prosper. So,
That's like needed so bad too.
yeah, 380s. And they've also got 380 bypass, which is going to be going north of McKinney and kind of getting a lot of that congestion freed up, because 380 is a nightmare right now.
Oh, it's brutal.
But I mean, being in Denton, they're adding a loop to the west of Denton now that's going through Crum area, and
Yeah, it's Denton's nuts, especially in the southern Denton County. I mean, all of Denton County's nuts, but where I live in the Argyle area, southern Denton County. I mean, Hillwood just announced another, several thousand rooftops. I think 10,000 in what's called Landmark, which is this beautiful hill that Perot bought years ago, named Hunter Ranch. And then the Jack First and that group down in the Argyle Flower Mound area, they've got another, I think they announced 2,000 homes, I believe, but their whole project over time is going to be, upwards of 10.
well,
And
my point was,
that's
with every loop that we are adding to DFW, you're adding exponentially more intersections.
So more retail.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, think of how many hard corners were the Loop 12 loop back in the 60s,
Yeah.
70s. Now you're adding those concentric rings, which is it's double at least, if not 3 to 4 times the amount of commercial corners.
Well, that's got to get you excited, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I
For
don't know
sure.
what I want to live here in 25 years, but
Well,
there'll be a ton of opportunity.
That's the old saying, right? The growth's great
Yeah,
unless it's right next to you.
right.
Yeah. Um, yeah. So that is exciting. That is going to create a lot of corners. That's going to create a lot of opportunity. And so, what do you? So people that these loops are going through these. I mean, that's rural land in most cases, I would think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and or unincorporated land that
Right.
is going to be annexed into some city, and I think that's honestly going to be the biggest boon for any local community. Listen to me, local communities. If you want to get massive commercial growth, multifamily growth, single family, office, if you want economic benefits to your city, you've got to get out of the way and let these developers come. I mean, obviously have a well thought out plan for your community, but there's so many cities in DFW right now that are getting in the way of progress because they're bureaucracies that are not putting permits through, not getting zoning approved,
Right.
having very narrow zoning, and they want, a massive mixed use product. I've dealt with some unnamed cities very recently that they want to see a massive mixed use project with 5 million feet of office and a bedroom community that you're like, guys, the market is not going to.
Right. Yeah. Every small town thinks they're the next Frisco
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah, they all want Neiman Marcus
Yeah.
and Nordstrom's and
What's funny about that is, because today's election day that we didn't mention, and so
Oh,
that's,
is it?
Yes. Did you forget?
I haven't even kept up with it. Yeah,
Well, they haven't. Nobody's been saying anything about it. So I'm
yeah.
surprised you didn't know.
I've been under.
Not
rock.
surprised you didn't know. But when you talk about these small cities and that get in, get in the way of the development progress, so often that is because the people that are elected to these offices in these cities, you get an average of less than 10% of the people that are city voters actually go and vote. And so you get, so 200 votes can elect some goofball that probably has zero business sitting on a city council, who knows zero probably about business and definitely about real estate. And these are the people making decisions that directly affect you in the city that you live in. And you see these cities just kind of screw this up over and over and over and over again. The growth's coming.
Yeah.
It's going to come. Do you want the growth to be, to complement the city and the area you live in, or do you want to just get run over or be bypassed, which
Well, the
can
problem
be a huge problem
the
too.
problem is zoning goes with the land. That if you're going to set zoning somewhere, call it retail zoning, and have open, I get it. Like
Yeah.
if you're going to have an open zoning policy that is fairly loose, you don't know who's going to exploit that.
Right.
And so
You'll get run over.
they're trying to set up this for future generations to be like, hey, look, we know that this is a reputable developer today, but if this fails and this goes to another guy that is not somebody, we want to have those guardrails in place so that they build, something that complements our community. But there's got to be a more practical way to set up. If you have a extremely reputable development group that comes to the community and says, hey, look, we want to do this,
Yeah.
you need to be able to give them a little bit more latitude to do what they want to do, or the debt and equity markets are going to change, the politics are going to change, the whatever's going to change. You're going to get a whole new city council government halfway through your entitlement period that somebody's going to come in and go, nope, we're not doing that anymore. Well, you get a reputation for not being business friendly, and
Yeah.
one of the most business friendly cities in this market historically, I just took a bank on a pad that was zoned for a bank. They were in an overlay district, and when we submitted our site plan, they said, what sculptures are you going to be adding to the format of your site plan?
Are you a sculptor?
I'm not a sculptor.
Oh, okay.
Neither is the bank.
Oh.
And we were like, what do you mean sculptures? Like this is next.
Is that a normal question?
This is next door to a 7-Eleven. Like
Right.
what sculptures are you looking for?
A Slurpee sculpture.
We don't really know, but we know we want really nice sculptures to be all along this corridor. And it just took us by surprise. And then asking around, several people have heard the same thing recently, that
From the same city or?
same city.
Huh.
And this is they want sculptures everywhere on retail, commercial.
Like gargoyles, or
No idea.
they didn't give you any direction on the
Abstract.
sculptures? Abstract.
Yeah,
sculptures.
abstract. I told the guys, well, what you should do is just do a 10-foot tall sculpture of the city next door and see if they like that.
That's interesting. That's I wonder how that came. I wonder how that came about. That must be
Literally what you said. Somebody got in there.
Somebody
and
got
said,
in there. That's
And that city was the best city I've ever worked with 10 years ago. We went to dinner with a major entertainment client. They showed up with fire marshal, mayor, head of EDC, couple city councilmen to this dinner. And I was like, oh no, this is not going well. And fire marshal gets out and he's like, look, we just want to proactively set all this up with the fire lanes and the hydrants and this and that, and what kind of water pressure you're going to need so that you're ready to go the second you submit plans.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, this is amazing. Like, nobody does
they're
this.
organized.
They're organized.
Yeah.
And that's the same city now that has turned over, and you've got people that are, not that way.
Right.
So-
well, you can drive around and you can kind of, if you look, you can see the cities that did it right, planned well. South Lake comes to mind, and then you can see and then Keller comes to mind right next door. That was just, they just kind of looked like they were steamrolled almost with development.
Yeah.
You drive down to Old Town Keller, and look at it now, and it's couldn't be different. Maybe Keller loves how it all turned out. I don't know, but
Yeah.
from my expert point of view,
I think Trophy Club's done a real good job. And
Trophy Club, Westlake's
and,
done a good job.
Westlake's got some crazy stuff going on right now. Crazy good
Crazy
developments.
good. Yeah. So
Roanoke, Roanoke's
Argyle,
downtown's awesome.
Roanoke's cool. It's gotten really, really dense.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see if Argyle figures it out and goes more of the Westlake, South Lake route versus the Keller Roanoke route. The Roanoke's cool because of the restaurant district and stuff that they put in there
that's what I'm
and all
talking
that. But I wouldn't want Argyle to be quite that dense, personally.
No. Yeah.
But we'll see.
That's the contrarian nature of my business. I like green land and hunting and fishing, but I also like to do deals and,
Well, yeah, you want it to grow, just not right where you are.
yeah,
We're all
exactly.
selfish that way, I
Yeah.
think. So, not getting political, but it is election day. Like, do you, just from like a neutral standpoint, does the election go in either way? Do you see one way or the other really impacting real estate in a big way? Or some people say it doesn't really matter. Business is going to continue. We're going to continue to do
Well,
business.
I like the fact that you know how neutral I am.
Yeah.
You've never known me to stand for anything. I'm kind of a waffler.
Yeah, whatever, whichever way the wind
Whichever
blows.
way the wind blows, I don't ever piss anybody off with a hot sports opinion. But that's the funny thing is, like, every single election cycle, people take their money off the table in February. And definitely June, July, August, they're like, well, let's wait and see what happens in the election. And I'm like, when has it ever impacted locally the real
Right.
estate market? It never does. And then they all jump back in right after the election. So that's honestly, I can't wait to see. I hope that everybody's going to jump in right after the election's over, one way or another, because they're like, okay, fine, we've got 4 years to do business.
Right.
I just think it's hilarious that
Is
the-
it that
the
they
sentiment-
think, okay, well, we think if this candidate wins, it's going to go a little bit this way. If we think this candidate wins, it's going to go a little bit this way. So they want to, see who's elected, and then, okay, our new normal for the next 4 years is this, and then they
But what?
move forward. Yeah,
yes, but what does that do to real estate pricing in the near term? I mean,
right.
There's-
Well, I mean, here in Texas, it hasn't gone down.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's still blowing and going. They say the president can't affect the interest rates. I don't know
yeah. right.
how true that actually is.
Wait,
but
didn't they cut interest rates like 30 days ago because it's not related to
it's
the
not
election.
related to that.
Right.
You're not even
right.
allowed to say that, I think.
Right.
And they're supposed to cut it
I'm gonna
another
get you canceled.
another 50. Yeah. Well, we've They've tried to cancel me.
Speaking of getting you canceled, let me tell no.
I'm like Rogan, can't
You're
be
exact.
canceled.
When I see you, the bald head, and
Yeah, that's what it is.
extremely big muscles.
Yeah.
And proud of you for working out.
I need to get some kettlebells in here.
Yeah.
And then, I could be.
Do a quick pump
Could be.
before
That's
the
what we're
podcast
going
next
for
time.
here.
Yeah.
We don't want to overtake Rogan. We like him, but
Never
a
know.
close second.
Close second.
Be fine.
Yeah.
But so I'm just ready for this election to be over. I'm so tired of all the noise. I'm hoping that my phone will stop asking me for money every 2 seconds from political.
Yeah, because that's
folks.
what I'm going to give my money to.
Well, it's so annoying. Like I responded one time to see if they'd say anything. I'm like, if you'll stop texting
I'll
me,
give you $5.
I will give you money.
Yeah.
They
No.
didn't take it. They didn't
No.
want. They didn't want that deal. So they didn't want that money that bad. I don't know. So what are you looking forward to over the next few years? What do you think is going to be the big play in real estate on your side?
Like I said, I think construction's going to loosen up, and we've had. Target, for instance, has
When you say loosen, do you mean like prices will stabilize or come down?
prices
a little bit?
will stabilize, and developers will be able to start getting construction deals, development deals going. So,
Right.
Target, for instance, has not done a ton in the last decade because it's been a tough market to build in, and they just announced they want to do 300 locations. HEB's on fire.
Is that nationwide 300 locations?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Which are probably
Yeah, not in Dallas.
probably Sun Belt. I would think they're not going to be building a lot of them
Yeah.
up north.
Yeah. If you're in the Sun Belt Smile, you're going to be doing fantastic.
Well, not even one. I think I told you not one city. Other Boston was the outlier, but all the other top 10 real estate markets are projecting in 2025 are in the South Sun Belt.
Yeah.
Which obviously what's been trending over the last few years.
Boxes are on fire, like large format boxes, which, I would have thought, if I had to guess, 15 years ago when the Amazon effect was taking over, a lot of that's commoditized stuff that you can get via an Amazon truck.
Yeah.
They're doing fantastic. And
Is that because just the population explosion? These people need groceries.
it's not just Dallas-Fort Worth. They're
everywhere.
all over the market. They're
Did they just stop building them for a while and demand pent up? Is that the big reason you think?
I wish I knew.
Partly because they said
Yeah, for sure.
retail was going to go away, so they
Right.
slowed down, and then they're like, oh wait.
Yeah,
it
there
didn't.
have not been big format retail developments hardly at all. We were bringing one out of the ground in Fort Worth 2 years ago, and we were one of two in the state of Texas.
Wow.
So
What about movie theaters? So one problem with movie theaters is there's so few good movies that are made. That might be the big problem.
Yeah.
But I always liked going to the movie. I know you had a big movie theater
My-
client. Are they going to? Is that going to come back, or is
yeah,
the movie
5
theater
years
dead?
ago, I was the movie theater guy.
Yeah.
And they're recession proof, and they'll never go away. And
Unless they stop making.
unless
movies.
a global pandemic comes out and
Right, there's
closes
that.
them for 17 months. So it's hard to make money when you're closed for 17 months.
I thought when you sat down, like COVID didn't matter. Like when you go into a restaurant, you walk in,
Sitting
very
in a
dangerous.
dark-
When you sit down, okay.
Sitting in a dark building for 2 hours straight is the best way not to transmit COVID.
Yeah,
according to
that's what I
the
would have
experts.
thought. Yeah, so that should have been perfect.
Yeah. Well, the other thing they did that really, really screwed up the movies at the time was, I think it was Wonder Woman came out and they released it straight to HBO Max, and that closed that window that was when you had to wait to release
Yeah,
it to
yeah, you
video.
go watch it. Yeah,
Right. And so that started off, not only, hey, COVID closes all movie theaters, plus now we're going to let them go straight to video. That reset a pattern for a lot of people that, well, I can just pay for this on HBO and not go to the theaters. So that hurt it quite a bit. And they're coming back. They've made a good push, but Alamo Drafthouse was my big client for a long time here, and Sony Pictures just bought them, and they're making a big push to kind of reconsolidate that brand.
It was a cool brand. We went and, they can change things up because we went and saw, the movie. Elf, at
Yeah.
Christmas time.
Yeah.
This is before Alamo closed, but they did this big Elf showing. And we all went, the whole family, and it was great. We went to a movie. We'd seen it 1,000 times, but we went
Yeah.
to a movie theater to watch it, and it was packed.
Well, they
You
they
know.
do that. They call that eventizing. That's a second run movie, so their margins on that, they don't have to pay hardly anything for the film,
Right.
and they're still making food and bev numbers like they normally would, and so for them, that is a huge margin item that they are running on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Monday, and
Yeah.
then-
Well, all the theaters should look at this because there's a lot of great movies. They're not making as many great movies
Well,
as
my
they used
pitch
to,
to
in my
the
opinion.
to the mixed use guys that were building, lifestyle centers all over the country was, what are you going to do? And obviously, it's seasonal. You've got, summer and Halloween movies and Christmas time, and
Yeah.
blockbusters are coming out then. But what are you doing January 25th when it's 15 degrees outside on a Tuesday night and you're trying to get people to your shopping center? Do that. Show
Yeah.
those. They would do a Taylor Swift sing along with the bouncing ball and the words on the screen, and they'd pass out feather boas and have super marked up drinks that are the pink drink or whatever they had that they
And that was probably a big hit. It sounds miserable to me, but that
they'd
was a big
sell
hit.
out in
Yeah.
5 minutes.
No kidding. Yeah.
And that's like a concert ticket. So they're buying that a month ahead of time. They're getting all their girlfriends together and going to that, and it's on a Monday night. Where if you were showing a first run movie, nobody's showing up to that on a Monday night when it's 15 degrees outside and they got to go to work the next morning.
Yeah. So there's definitely a business plan there.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
for
For
sure.
sure. I read yesterday Simon spending $4 billion on redevelopments, and along the same lines, they're trying to figure out how to re-tenant their lifestyle centers and their mixed-use projects with more reasons to come, like gyms and hotels and not just restaurants and retail. They're looking to add services, medical office, getting people in there for one reason or another. They're adding a huge office complex over in Fort Worth at their Clear Fork development.
Well, new office is doing pretty well.
Yeah.
It's these B and C class offices.
Well, but
It's gonna
new
be
office
interesting.
also loves retail and restaurants and walkable, and
Right.
that's
That's real.
that's
It's a
real.
real thing.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be cool to see how it all shakes out.
I know.
Especially tonight and going forward into 2025. But I appreciate you coming by and
Yeah,
hanging
man,
out
this
with
is
us.
fun.
Yeah. I'll have to
do
have
it
you
again.
back here soon. Yeah, please.
Who's you gonna win the tournament, Lahitas?
I hope that we can pull that off. That there's a big charity prize, and for the listeners who don't know what you're talking about, our big charity event, which you're on the board of, and I appreciate you. Our charity is Nexus Creatus Opus, which stands for Links Charity Golf, and then our first big tournament is going to be at the Lahitas Golf Resort, November 13th through 15th. We have a partnership tournament, and you will come and play for the charity of your choice, and the winners will take home, well, they won't take home, they'll win large cash prize donations to the charity that they're playing golf for. So this is our first one. I'll put something up on LinkedIn about it. But yeah, our plan is to do it every year, and we would love to see any of you commercial real estate golfers come out and be part of this with us. Not only is it a great thing for charity, but it's a great way to meet new people, within
I
our
have to
business.
meet new people. I don't
Well,
like people.
Well, I know you can hang out in your rooms. You don't have to talk to anyone. But for those extroverts or people who like to to network, we got a
Bonanza
great
at the
lineup.
border.
What's that?
The Bonanza at the
Bonanza
border.
at the border at Lahitas Golf Resort, and and we got a great lineup of commercial real estate, major players, big companies that a lot of you have heard of that are going to be there, and so I'm really excited for this inaugural event, and looking forward to
it's gonna be awesome.
having even a bigger event next year. So more to come on that, but thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure I'll see you before we leave next week, but thanks again for coming on, and
Yes, sir.
we'd love to have you back. And with that, we'll call this an episode. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time.